Academic Arrogance. The octopus-like grip academic gurus maintain on their respective fields involves many tentacles. One big motivation is grant funding. After all, if an authority is proven wrong, the funding will dry up. Second, and even more pernicious, is the ephemeral currency of academia. In Washington, it's power. On Wall Street, it's money. In the ivory tower, it's credit. Credit. Really? It's true. Credit is the green-eyed monster of academia. It's all about how many papers you've published in what journal and whether your name is listed first or last. If neither, your contribution is seen as second-rate. The motto really should be publish and perish. Academic medicine is the worst because never has so much been fought over for so little. And then, finally, there's the most ridiculous monster of all, skepticism. Now, it's good for academicians to be skeptical. After all, they're supposed to apply the scientific method to their deliberations and keep their own personal biases separate. But what if that skepticism is misplaced? What if it's being driven by personal hubris rather than good scientific suspicion? Here's my own very recent example of how this kind of skepticism works to everyone's detriment, except the academician. I first aired the sugar is toxic message in public in 2009. In 2011, Gary Taubes wrote his New York Times article, Is Sugar Toxic?, followed by my 2012 Nature comment, written with UCSF colleagues Laura Schmidt and Claire Brindis, The Toxic Truth About Sugar. We then published our landmark fructose restriction study, see Chapter 20, in the journal Obesity in 2016, which demonstrated causation between sugar consumption and metabolic syndrome. Despite all the information and science gleaned by myself and others, an incredulous WebMD video appeared online asking Joslin Diabetes Center CEO Ron Kahn the question, can eating a lot of sugar cause my diabetes? Kahn responded, and I quote, eating a lot of sugar definitely does not cause diabetes if you don't eat so much sugar that you gain weight. And in fact, sugar to a certain extent is okay because it stimulates the pancreas to make more insulin, which actually helps to control the blood sugar. This is the head of the Joslin Diabetes Center saying in 2015, "A calorie is a calorie. It's about obesity, and insulin is good." With all we knew at that point, to be that unabashed about one's stance on a seminal point that has such important clinical implications. Think about that. To Khan's credit, he has finally come around, in part because he senior authored a 2019 article in Cell Metabolism showing in mice that fructose decreases mitochondrial function while glucose stimulates it. He issued this statement to Science Daily about his paper. "The most important takeaway of this study is that high fructose in the diet is bad. It's not bad because it's more calories, but because it has effects on liver metabolism to make it worse at burning fat. As a result, adding fructose to the diet makes the liver store more fat. And this is bad for the liver and bad for whole body metabolism." Okay, Khan finally accepts that a calorie is not a calorie and that sugar is toxic. Hooray! But why? And why now? The answer is simple. He had to do it himself. That way he looks like the consummate critical investigator, being appropriately cautious. But it also gives him the opportunity to ignore what came before, dissing other scientists, and allows him to take credit for a new paradigm shift. And remember, in academia, it's all about the credit.